welcome to another acrylic painting tutorial with me, Laura, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to paint this rainy day view. Okay, so the colours we're going to be using today are just 5 colours. We've got a Payne's Grey here. Now this is a really dark Payne's Grey, so this is more like Mars Black. So if you don't have Payne's Grey, you can use Mars Black and just add a little hint of ultramarine blue or any blue that you have. So we're going to be using that colour. We're also going to be using, obviously, some titanium white, which I always like to use and my camera doesn't want to show you. Also with that, we're going to be using some vermilion, cadmium green, cadmium green. And we're going to need a little bit of red and yellow as well. So I'm using a transparent vermilion and also a primary yellow as well. So, but any red or yellow will do, so, or even orange if you have orange. So we're going to start off with our background to begin, and we just want to have a lot of fun with this. We want to make it quite dark and moody, like a rainy day, and as if it's been raining all day and it's late afternoon, so it's going to be quite dark, but it can be really blurry, really childlike, so you can have a lot of fun with the background. So I'm just using a flat brush, but you can use any brush that you like, so I'm just using a big flat brush. We're going to first of all create some kind of building on the right hand side, and we're going to make that quite grey. Now I've been using this palette already, doing some painting already, but I'm just going to mix up some of this Payne's Grey or Mars Black, you can add blue if it's Mars Black, a little bit of white to just basically make a lighter bluey grey colour. And with that we're going to sort of hint at a building on the right hand side here, and this can be really crude, it doesn't have to be perfect. My brush is a little bit wet today, so less of a dry brush today. We can add a little bit more white in there at the top, but you can really have a lot of fun with this, and just it doesn't have to be artistically perfect or some amazing masterpiece. We actually want it to look really blurry, as if we've not put our glasses on today. So it's going to be a little bit lighter at the top, and then I'm going to hint at some windows. So I'm going to add some of the more darker Payne's Grey, and we're just going to put in a window here, just sort of hint at a window, and with that we're going to put in a door. Still got a bit of white on my brush, probably need a little bit more dark. So it's going to hint at a door, maybe even sort of like some kind of drain pipe, a little bit darker down here. And then we're going to add an extension to this little building. So let's get a bit of the lighter grey again. I'm going to have some kind of like little extension on the side. Bit of the white at the top. A little bit darker towards the bottom. And there we go. So we've got this sort of extra building on the side. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to work on the sky, and we've got a rough idea of our layout. So I'm just going to wash my brush, and we're going to do quite a moody grey sky. So again, we're going to take some of this Payne's Grey and some of the white, a bit lighter than the house, but still quite grey, and we're just going to paint in a very grey sky. So I might use a bit more water for this. And a bit more white at the top. And we're just going to paint in a very basic sky. Just sort of mixing up some white and some Payne's Grey. It can be nice and streaky. I'm just going to do that all the way up to the building. So we'll do that up to the edge of our building. Maybe even a little bit whiter. And bring it down to about here, I'd say. Okay. Okay, so that's our sky. Very grey looking, miserable sky on this rainy afternoon. And what we're going to do now is we're going to create some foliage. So we're going to wash our brush and we're going to create quite a grey green. So we're going to take some of this Mars Black Payne's Grey colour, a little bit of water, and we're going to add a bit of green to get this quite muddy dark green. We're going to add a little bit of white to that though, because we want it to be a little bit lighter in the background. So it's kind of like a muddy green, quite grey. And we're going to add some very crude sort of bushes in the background, as if there's a forest, a spooky forest in the distance. And we're going to bring that down to here and up to this building and fill in any white spaces you might have left. Don't worry if it goes over the building, because it's all needs to be blurry anyway. So okay, so we've got a bit of bush forest there, and then we're going to add to that same green, we're going to make it darker, add a bit more of the green, so we get this darker green. And we're going to put some more bushes, trees, whatever they are, in front of that. And then again we're going to add even more Payne's Grey to that green, so we've got some really dark bushes. Coming down to the road. Okay, so there we go, that's looking quite murky and spooky. So now we're going to work on the road, so I'm just going to rinse my brush. And we want to create some kind of path, sort of part of the road here. So we're going to go back to the Payne's Grey, mix it in with that lighter grey you had earlier, and we're just going to, underneath the house, hint at some kind of footpath, road, whatever you want it to be. Getting a bit darker in the foreground. And we're going to mix that into a lighter grey. So get some white. It's going to mix that into a bit of a lighter grey. If you lose the darkness, we'll just get a little bit more of the dark, just add that back in. So I want to keep it quite dark in the background. Just mix that in. And do the same the other side. So I want it quite dark the other side as well. And background here as well. But a bit lighter in the middle, so I'm going to add a bit more white. because we just want it to be lighter down the middle. I need to get some more white. Okay, so still a little bit light around the edge here, so we're going to add some little darker bits of Payne's grey and just blend that into the white. Okay, so there we go. She's got this sort of lighter part of the road, dark around the edges. So now we're going to swap to the smaller flat brush, or you can use a round brush, entirely up to you. And we're going to take a little bit of this yellow, and we're just going to mix it with a bit of the red to create an orange. So you can use orange if you want, but I like to just mix up from the yellow. Make it more yellow than a red. And we're going to just put some little lights in the background here, as if there's a car driving away. So a little circle. Like that. And then underneath, because it's a wet road on a wet day, we're just going to add some streaks underneath in the same colour. Just getting lighter as it gets further away. We're going to do the same again, but we're going to make it a little bit more red for a bit of variation. So next to it we've got a more of an orangey red light. Again, another little circle. And we're also going to do some little reflections underneath as well. So it's like a car is ahead of us driving away in the distance. And if they look like they're floating a little bit, you can just take a little bit of the darker Payne's grey. So you've got quite a dark grey, and then just around it, just hint at a vehicle. Just go around. That's why you want the background to be quite dark. So there we go. It's all going to be hidden under our raindrops. So now we've done our background. Nice blurry, very simple little painting, almost childlike painting. Hopefully you've had fun doing that and free up some of your painting inhibitions. And now we're going to work on the raindrops, which are really going to make this painting pop. The first thing I like to do is to take some white, and you want it quite, not too watery, but a little bit of water, so it's easy to brush over. And we're going to use this as a guide first of all, and we're just going to draw. This is where you've got to be quite brave. We're just going to paint, we're going to paint some little dots all over our painting. So some little dots, they can be any shape. These would be like little raindrops, and they can be any size. You can have tiny little ones, and in fact if you do smaller ones, it can make it look even more realistic. And then obviously you might want some streaks as well. So this is where you want quite a sort of small brush. Some little streaks with some dots next to it. And just do that all over your painting, doing different size dots and streaks. You have some quite small ones. And a streak coming down here. Maybe one here. Streaks all the way down. Because imagine you're sat in a car on this rainy day, and you're looking out for the windscreen, and you've got all the rain dripping down the window. Or maybe you're looking out, this house is here in the foreground, and you're looking out the window. So I'm going to create these little dots. Some streaks. I'm going to do that all over our painting. So it might seem a bit scary because you might not want to ruin your background, but this is a really good painting for freeing up your inhibitions, to your fear of ruining a painting. So get some more white. Just continue with the raindrops all over your painting. Let's have a big streak coming down here, shall we? Maybe it juts up like this and then goes out into little droplets. We could have another one coming down here. Streak there. And what else can we have? Another droplet up here. I think that's probably about it. We can have a few drops in between. So there we go. I think that's the basis of our little raindrops, where they're going to be. So we're going to wash our brush and then make them all 3D. Okay, so now what we want to do is hint at some of the colours in the background in our little raindrops. So, for example, this little red and yellow, these little headlights here, we're going to go back to our orangey colour, mix some more of that up, and we're just going to, on top of the yellow, on top of the white always needs to stay at the bottom. So on top of that, we're just going to hint at, so if the white slopes to the left, we want to put our colour on the right hand side, and if it slopes to the right, we want to put a colour on the left hand side, if that makes sense. So this little bit here is sloping to the left, so I'm going to put a little bit of colour just to the right hand side of it. I might need a little bit more water. Just hint at a little bit of the orange, and it doesn't need to be right next to the headlights, it can be just nearby, because when we actually look through raindrops, it tends to reflect stuff that's not right on top of it, but that's near it. So, and just at the bottom there, because this one's sloping that way, I'm going to put the colour onto this side. And again, with these little raindrops down here, I might add just a little bit of colour on top of them. And I think that's probably about it. Maybe I could hint at a bit of colour down there, and maybe even on these little droplets. So now we're going to swap to the more sort of greeny colour. Let's take some white, some green, and a little bit of the Payne's grey to make that very grey green. Give a bit of water. Water helps the water. And we're going to add a little bit of green reflection near where the foliage is. So again, I'm going to put it on top here. And you see it's quite far away from the green, where the actual foliage is. I'm going to put a little bit of colour here, and even on this one up here, I'm going to add some green to that raindrop, and this one, and some of these, and maybe even this one. And for this side, we're going to add some like grey streaks, so let's get a bit of watery grey. A bit whiter than that. So a little bit of watery grey, and because they're sloping this way, we're going to put the colour this side. You can't massively see it when it's over the similar colours, but when it comes over the windows it stands out a bit more. Just a little bit. Don't need to worry so much on the little raindrops. But I think that's it for the colour that we're going to add. And now we're going to add some dark Payne's grey. So we're going to take some pure Payne's grey or Mars black with a bit of blue in. Make that quite watery. And these darker bits need to be on top, right at the top. So we need them to sit on top of the white. And they can even go in between the colour and the white, but as long as they're on top of the white like that. I'm going to do that for all of the little droplets. And this is what makes them look really 3D. Again, when it's sloping this way, we want the black to be on this side, the left hand side, and it doesn't have to be a perfect streak. There we go. Get a bit more water. And do it for the other raindrops. So you can sometimes put it in between the colour as well, which can make it look really stand out. You can see there, I've put it in between the colour and the white if it's a really big raindrop. Can make it stand out. Otherwise it goes on top. Okay, so just keep repeating that for all your little raindrops. Okay, so I think that's all my raindrops covered. You can see it really starting to look 3D. And if you want to, you can now add some pure white highlights. So you can clean your brush, get some pure titanium white, and just touch up those white bits right at the bottom. You can have some pure white. This is optional, you don't have to, it depends on how white your white parts are. Some might have faded if it's been a bit watery, so Okay, so we're putting some extra dots of white just to catch the light, and there we go. There's our little raindrop windscreen raindrop painting. And I'm just going to take off the tape now. And to do that, I like to use a hairdryer just to warm up the glue so it's easier and doesn't rip the painting. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll come back and show you the finished painting. Okay, so let's take off the tape, the most satisfying part, and see what it looks like. And I'm just using normal masking tape, so I'm not using any fancy artist tape or anything. And there we go. There is our finished raindrop painting. And if you've got more time, obviously you can spend a lot more time and more detail, and this is another one that I did when I had a little bit more time. So lots of raindrop paintings. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Hope you managed to follow along. And if you have any recommendations for the things you'd like to learn, landscape or seascape wise, let me know in the comments below and I'll see if I can do a tutorial. But hopefully you're having a nice sunny day, or you're somewhere cozy inside away from the rain. And I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.